Lost is on.
Welcome back to Bite Size Media. Yeah, no, that's right. Sorry. Welcome back to Bite Size Media, everyone. A subsidiary of Slate Media. We're watching Lost because it's good, right?
Yeah.
What number episode is this? Today we are covering an episode called Homecoming, which is the
15th episode of season 1.
What do we remember about this episode, Homecoming? I would have to assume that it's when Claire comes back, but I don't know.
Claire came back at the end of last week. She came out of the brush and we go, Claire?
You're right. It must be the story of Claire coming back.
This is a Charlie episode, is what Wikipedia is telling me. But the only thing I ever remember about Charlie's backstory is Drive Shaft, and we already saw that.
The only thing you ever remember about Charlie's backstory is, you all, everybody.
Yeah. You all, everybody.
Hey, we should start a game of what's the over-under of how many times we hear that song in a flashback.
Yeah.
I feel like we hear it all over the place.
Yep. Yeah. I don't remember anything else about Charlie's backstory. Nope. I really don't. Everything again. It's those first couple episodes, or at first flashback episodes, everyone's I remember. It's often the second or thirds that I don't remember.
Yeah, couldn't tell you anything.
Or parts of later ones.
Right.
Like for the first Jack, when we were like, oh, doesn't this and this and this and this and this happen? No, it's like one of those.
Oh, and isn't this where we learn where he got his tattoos? And nope.
Yeah. Or is this where we learn how why Locke's in the wheelchair? It's like, no, it's all.
Yeah.
The reveal is he's in a wheelchair.
You remember what a big mystery that was? Everybody had all sorts of like why are we so obsessed with? It's fun to watch this show without the mystery anymore. Like, not that we remember everything that happens, but
yeah. That's all I got.
Anybody got anything else for Homecoming?
Start getting into the show, and it's like, I don't remember a single thing about this episode.
Do you think we're gonna get Mean Boy Charlie?
Probably. He's very protective of Claire.
He's also very protective of peanut butter.
Yeah, he is. I mean, we haven't seen any peanut butter on the show yet, so stupid.
Sad,
depressing.
All right. And so, with that, everybody ready to get lost?
Yeah.
Then let's take a bite. Welcome back, everybody. We just watched Homecoming. That's an interesting episode. The more we watch this season 1, the more I remember how well plotted it is and genuinely interesting it is before it goes just kind of off the rails.
It's in that part of the show where we've established where we are in the present, so we don't have to, things are organized. So it's mostly about sitting around. Yeah. But then that doesn't mean nothing's happening. But so that's kind of settled. But now there's the Claire stuff that's happened for the last couple weeks in the show. And then because we're not, again, off the rails deeper into the show, we're not held back by what we've set up already yet. That's still later. If I remember, there's certain times where I don't know if it's retconning. I'm not going to talk about specifics later in the show, but you kind of get narrower for the directions you can go, and you run out of stuff to flash back to.
This has got to be one of the shows that coined the term retconning. I know it's not, but
I wonder where the term originated from. Keep talking. I'll look into that.
I mean, because you think about it, Star Wars, the prequels are basically a giant retcon. Oh yeah, I meant to make this way. I promise. Okay. And then I think some show about cops in the 80s did it too. My brain is telling me the show is called Midnight Cowboy. I know that that's a movie as well, though, so I don't think that's a show.
Midnight Cowboy, that's a movie. I don't think it's based off anything, though.
I know. I'm trying to think of what the show I'm thinking of is.
What kind of show? It's a cop show?
It's a cop show.
Like Hill Street Blues or
it's something like
Homicide, Life on the Street?
I think it might have been Hill Street
Blues. That's a big one. What's the
it's
sequel
like
show?
this-
NYPD Blue is another one.
It was one in like the 80s where they got through most of the series, and then like the last season is like a giant retcon because someone left or something.
So I'm getting different things. The term has its roots in a E. Frank Tupper book from 1973 called The Theology of Wolfhart Pannenberg.
Oh, yeah,
I hope
that one.
Yeah.
Aaron, you've read that.
But the term is used in Orwell's 1984 without the word being used, is what this is saying. But then Wiktionary is also saying it was popularized by comic writer Roy Thomas.
Huh.
So it sounds like it's a 20th century thing, and it probably popped up into the mainstream in probably the 80s. Where it, retroactive continuity is what it's the.
Yeah.
What's it called when you throw two words together again?
A conjunction?
Is that it?
I don't know.
It's when you take the two parts of two words and throw them together to
a
form that.
mashup?
Yeah, it's something like that.
I know that this show is, I think, my first introduction to the idea of what a retcon is, and the thought that the story was not necessarily meant to be this way from the beginning, but also the story kind of was, but just the minutia of it.
Yeah.
Portmanteau. That's the word I was looking for.
A portkey? That's Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Portmanteau. Portmanteau. A word that combines the sounds and meanings of two or more words.
That's how Cedric Diggory died, dude. We're not going to talk about that.
For example, smog is a portmanteau of smoke and fog.
Oh, that's interesting.
Wow.
Yeah. And you can also say blend. Or neologism.
I'm going to use neologism.
I'm going to use portmanteau so I can stick my pinky out.
What was it?
Ow.
Neologism?
Neologism. Yep.
I'm going to use neologism in my everyday life starting now.
Huh.
But then you just started to go onto the other thing, the whole like path of the show, and how that's like every long running show that's just a thing where it becomes something different than what you imagined.
Yeah.
It's also
yeah.
Oh, sorry. It's also before I understood the concept of the show Bible. This might be one of the things that made me aware of a show Bible.
That's a lot of work. I've never seen like a physical one in front of me.
You know, you'd
But-
think that they would like release those after a show has been.
I think Twin Peaks has something where it's not necessarily the show Bible, but it was either Mark Frost or someone like
Hold
put
on a
it
second,
together.
just to make sure you know what we're talking about when we say show Bible, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was like the complete history of Twin Peaks. It's like a written source that has backstory into a lot of the stuff the TV show and movies never touch, and it came out in the early 2000s, like long after the show, the first chunk of the show, before season 3 though. So like there's an example of it's not a show Bible, but it is kind of, they did a written source that it kind of functions similar to that, where you're not going to get this information.
I suppose if they did release it, though, they'd open themselves up to a lot of criticism about
You're talking about Lost? Any show?
Especially a show like any show, but especially a show like this, because people could look at that and go, okay, well, why didn't it end this way? Or
Why
didn't they make this clear? Or
That's probably why they don't release show Bible. Plus, would that even make money? Truly, like weirdo nerds like us would like it, but is that
I think
worthwhile?
a show like this, I think a lot of people would buy it.
Maybe not now.
Maybe not now.
At the time, though, but you know why people would buy it back in 2010.
They'd want to know what the
They'd
is.
be like, was this really the ending? That it could have had a better ending? Like, even though I like the ending, from what I remember. So, it's one of those things, like, I understand why they don't release them, but it'd be really cool to see it. Like, see all the notes, see all the different things, how what you start with is nothing like what you ended with. What's a classic example of a show that kind of, how to say this? It changed halfway through, but they had to end it a specific way because of how they started it. What's the big sitcom
Oh, the big sitcom?
Big sitcom that had to film the ending at the start.
Oh, that's How I Met Your Mother.
Yup. I remember
Those kids knew the end of that show for the entire show.
probably had to sign something.
They did.
Yeah. It's just. Have you seen How I Met Your Mother?
All the way up to like season 7 or 8.
Okay.
So-
The only time I've watched it is on this podcast. So I've
See-
seen
Oh,
2
really?
episodes, but
I know
how it
I don't
ends.
know if I'm going to get on my How I Met Your Mother horse for a bit.
Here we go. And again, let's go.
I recently went back through and watched it all again.
The whole thing.
Yeah, just kind of like, it's one of those comfort shows where it's like, I know people say, oh yeah, it's out of taste now. Like, you can't watch it the same. They're all just awful people. I still find it funny. Yeah, I graduated in 2005. Like, I was growing up at that age when they were there. So that last season is not as bad as what people say it is. Sure, it jumps the shark, but and it undercuts its own message. But like, they do this whole like beautiful thing of Ted letting Robin go and blah blah. Spoilers. Ted letting Robin go, and then they undercut it by getting them back together. But at the same time, it's, what do you really want?
Comes down to expectations by the fan base, a decade of building up to the end of this very popular show, and it's the ending no one wants.
Yeah.
But then when time passes and you reassess it, it's like, okay, I don't have those expectations. I know how it ends. So now when I watch it, it's like, it's not that bad. I was just upset because it wasn't what I wanted.
When you're watching it live, it's kind of a shock. There are so few shows that can end perfectly.
Endings are hard.
Scrubs, discounting the med school season, is a perfect ending. It's absolutely beautiful. Makes me cry every time. It's perfect. And then they go and do med school, which in hindsight, again, is not that bad. But
Better Call Saul has a great ending.
no spoilers, please.
I won't say what, but it's one of those where if Breaking Bad's ending, I won't say spoilers, I know we've all seen it. Breaking Bad's ending, people like, but there's, it's a little bit divisive on, like, is this really the best way to end this? Does so-and-so get what's coming to them, or does like how does this, I don't know how I feel about this, whereas Saul's is less, there's not as much conversation around that, like how it ends, and more about just the show in general, because that last shot, I could see it in my head, I'm like, it's so good. It's just
love that show, though.
It's one of my favorites ever. It's one of the best shows I've ever seen.
Is it better than Breaking Bad? Or
I think so.
Okay.
But it can't exist. It can't be great without Breaking Bad already being one of the greatest.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's one of those. It's like a Godfather Part 2.
I mean, also, just with Breaking Bad, like that ending, with how perfectly El Camino slots into the backside of Breaking Bad, like, it just makes you feel like they weren't ready to be done. They were just, or they had more story to tell.
Yeah.
And even that's very divisive.
They just needed El Camino.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't think it was that bad.
No. It's nothing about that. It's just half the people think, this is great. I don't like his ending in the show. This gives me closure. And the other half are like, no, I don't need this. This is unnecessary. I liked his ending. And if anything, it served its purpose. Because if you don't like it, you don't have to watch it. And if you wanted more, you got it.
So
I'm in the middle, actually, where I'm like, I didn't need any more, but I'm glad I got this. Mm-hmm. I never really think about it, though.
There's that.
That's there's not a lot of staying power with it.
Did you watch El Camino?
Yeah.
Okay. What did you think?
Yeah, I'm pretty much right there where I'm like in the middle. Don't really think about it. Like,
it's like,
exactly
I
what you
didn't
said.
need this. I was fine with that last shot of him. Like, I didn't.
Yeah.
But I'm happy this exists. It's cool. There's some really good parts. And then Saul is different, where I think they learned their lesson. They learned a lot of lessons from Breaking Bad on making that show, where it's like, okay, this is where we can keep this more focused. Because Breaking Bad loses a little focus on the sides and has some weird stuff. That it's one of the great shows, but they do.
Giancarlo Esposito walking out of that chicken. Spoilers. Giancarlo Esposito walking out of that chicken thing with his face. Not the chicken thing. It's
It's the room at the old folks home,
Yeah. But
retirement
like
home.
you can see his like eye nerve twitch. It's just like oh yuck. That's like the primary thing I remember about that.
And that's not even the last season.
No, I know. But
There's a
that's
whole
like,
season
that's
after
like
that.
That is an
That's
intense
one of those-
season.
Yeah. I know we just deviated from Lost, but
How did we get here?
Oh yeah.
it's because we were talking about how endings are hard. And so a show like Lost that starts very big, you have to deliver. And that's why a lot of people don't like the ending. Because they don't answer everything, which, in hindsight, we don't need every single thing answered. The problem is when they promise so much, it does frustrate you. And I do remember feeling, I was happy with the ending, but I was also like, yeah, I feel like there were loose ends they never really tied up.
I also feel like in a show like this, there's always going to be loose ends.
That's just the casualty of it. When something this popular gets that big, not only in terms of fan base, but in terms of like how big the story gets, how many more characters and settings, it's not going to fulfill that at the end unless it's like the perfect thing, and it's not, because they probably did not have the full ending mapped out.
I mean, yeah. I mean, just to remain even, if you want to think about bad endings, let's talk about Smallville. 10 years they built up. Oh yeah, we're gonna put him in the suit in the last episode. We're not gonna put him in the suit until he's ready to be
shot.
Superman, and then he's ready to be Superman, and
Show's done.
yep.
If it was like a 4 or 5 season show, sure.
The
10 years.
The funniest thing is they put him in the costume several times. It's just not the costume. It's a variation on the costume.
Yeah.
I love that show to death. Like it's seriously so close to my heart, but it's so dumb. It's such trash, but I love it so much.
Yeah. There's not much we're in that stretch in the middle of season 1 for Lost where there's not a ton to talk about because everything on the island, not that much happens.
Whenever I get to this point, I always forget that Ethan dies right away. I always think that they hold him in the caves.
Same, but then maybe we're mixing that up with a character from next season.
Yeah.
That they hold hostage. That's all we'll say here, but I think that's what because I forgot about that. I forgot about Claire getting abducted, and when she came back, I was like, I forgot all about her coming back 2 weeks later. I forgot about Ethan coming back and Charlie shooting him. Like, I forgot all this because I think we probably see Ethan in flashbacks later in the show.
Yeah, that's the funny thing. I was thinking about the show because we all know, spoilers, Boone dies.
What?
But imagine if we were watching this with someone for the first time and we
oh
were
no,
talking
not
like
that
this.
one.
But then, like, every time they flash back to the airport, he's got to be there.
Yep.
So,
Yeah, but look at the two.
being an actor is just such a weird job in a show like this, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you look at the two, the A and B side of this episode, everything on the island is mostly Ethan and how do we guard against this, and now let's go get him.
Don't forget about Steve. Steve gave his life for this episode.
Scott. Yeah, we were
about
to make a joke about that while watching, and then Hurley literally says, "Dude, it's Scott," and we all went, "Oh no," because we don't know, because expendable side character.
Well, I mean, again, they set it up so perfectly. How many people did they say were on this beach?
Like 40-some, wasn't it?
Do you ever see 46 people in one shot?
Nope. And then the other half, the flashbacks, it really boils down to Charlie is gonna steal that Churchill thing, the cigarette case, right?
Yeah.
How did he?
And but then he likes the girl, gets the job, still steals it, throws up on the copier, and then they said the EMTs found it.
Yeah.
And then it all boils down to that one thing she says that does make sense for why Charlie is so protective of Claire.
Yep.
And it's he's like, I took the job because I wanted to take care of you. And she's like, you'll never take care of anyone. Yeah. There you go. That's good. It all boils to that point where you realize why he got attached to Claire. Not only because she's pretty and he has a crush on her, but He wwants to
What?
feel
He has a
protective.
crush on her?
Yeah,
What?
because
News.
he finally found someone smaller than him who wasn't a child. Am I wrong? Ethan picks him. Now, Ethan's a big, tall dude, but Ethan just picks him up like that. And you see his little feet dangling, and you go, he's such a little dude.
He is a hobbit.
I was waiting for it. So, yeah, poor
By the
Charlie.
way,
He's got.
What is up with that dude calling that poor girl a moose? She's just a normal person.
Yeah, and then when she was yelling at Charlie, we were both like, she's really pretty. She's like, why did you take the job? I'm like, because you're pretty. And he did want to take care of you and actually be respectable. It's like, yeah, I've never understood that in shows when they'll say like, oh, that girl's a moose, or over here we'd say a dog in the old, like the 50s. You know that?
No, I didn't know that. I'm glad I don't live in the 50s now. Wow.
Yeah, that's what they say.
That's
what they say. They call it dogs when they're not like a pinup girl, and it's like, one, that's not nice at all. That's objectifying people, and also like, and whenever they say it's like, that's just a person, and they're perfectly fine. They're pretty. What is the problem? Why do we have to call people stuff like that? See, we might as well do this. Aaron, you're ugly. I don't believe that, but I think that's better than calling you a salamander or something.
I can't even say it. Aaron's hair. Look at it, man. It's just so clean. And
you are a very well-groomed person.
Compared to us? Yeah.
Thanks.
You look like you quarantined in a lumberjack shop up in Canada.
I did.
And I look like I just jumped out of a Volkswagen. Like yeah, you get to look.
Saying you look like Jason Momoa because you do.
I don't look like Jason Momoa.
Kind of do.
Whatever. That's not a bad thing. He's a good-looking guy. I'd be the distant cousin in a buddy comedy with him. Jason, if you're listening, let's do it. Me and you, road trip comedy. That's all I got to say about Homecoming.
Yeah.
That would be funny if it got to Jason. Oh.
Here we go. I saw it in theaters.
I know you did. Okay, anybody got anything? Oh, wait. There was one more thing I was going to say, but I do not remember. Oh, I think I made a comment while we were watching. I also think it's just so frustrating watching these flashbacks, watching these characters get right up to the line of what they want, and then just like, no, I don't. No, I'm going to do something to screw up my own life. Yep. I get that it's supposed to make it tragic. It just makes them look stupid. I think that's part of why I hate Kate so much.
Yoink.
Yeah, okay. Anybody got anything else to say about the episode?
Nope.
Anybody got a change in favorite or least favorite character?
Nope.
All right. Well, then, that's all we got for this episode called Homecoming. I can't remember the numbers.
Yeah, it's 15.
15. All right. We're getting within 10 episodes or so. 11?
9?
10. There's 25 technically.
Okay.
So
we're you can come on back next week. It looks like we're going to be covering 16, an episode titled Outlaws. But until then, Jared, where can they find us?
You can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, the funny TikTok, and X.
Formerly known as Twitter.
And you can listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio. And hey, if it's YouTube, like, subscribe, comment, ring our notification bell. Make sure you rate us and like us on all those apps, and check out our revamped, groovy website.
Woo woo. And then, other than that, come right on back here next week as we just keep getting lost.